short presentation is to illustrate the framework and the relevance of the research we have carried on, together with the main takeaways. And this is because basically all the details can be found in the paper. So the main goal of the work was to monitor a learning ecosystem like the Italian one, that has undergone, as many other learning ecosystems, a digital shock. Unique chance to study a forced innovation process. This has been never happened before. So by taking picture with different perspectives, that of course partially overlapping among them at the different times. Okay, so up to now we have taken 3 pictures. The first one after 2 months, as you can see in the timeline, and this one was to understand the reaction to the lockdown during the emergency. So also to understand the first impact of the shock on the system, at the same time of the people, mainly teachers. Although we have also investigated in other cases the student reaction. The test one has been taken after 2 years from since the pandemic outbreak. And basically, we try to investigate the heritage of the forced innovation process at the dawn of what now we call the new normality. The second one, and the one on which we will concentrate today, has been taken after 1 year, and has been focused on the study of the characteristics of the forced innovation process, mainly its dynamics and the factors that may determine the attitude of the people to get engaged in a technological innovation process. And factors that, on the other side, allow also to define hopefully a model for forced innovation process. So basically, the standard innovation process can be represented by 3 phases that are awareness, acceptance, and adoption. Not evident, not obvious at all that can be used during a forced innovation process, and certainly not with the same timeline that is shown here, that is recognized to be the most reasonable one. Also, in the past, also a large number of factors has been used to try to describe both innovation processes and technology acceptance. But again, a lot of factors have been used, and it is not evident again that those factors can be used to describe also the process that we are dealing with during our research, and that has been forced by the pandemic. So basically, in order to try to model the attitude of the people to get engaged in the technological innovation, we try to consider all the factors that have been used in the past to create a different model like the one that are listed here. Of course, I do not get into details because, as I say, you can find all the detail in the paper. So just resuming, I can say that basically this investigation, this work focuses on the let's say the innovation process and the identification of the timing of such innovation process and the relevant factor that can describe it. And at the same time, the aim was to try to identify which is this model that can describe a forced innovation process. At the same time, we also intend to collect a more mature opinion about the technical system in the learning process by the actors that were involved, like the teachers. So this is the framework and the goals of this second survey. The main takeaways. So the first one is shown here. It came out that the innovation process, for at least this innovation process forced by the pandemic, was a very quick one. So actually, during this second survey, we were able to understand that for sure the awareness phases was ended since 1 year from the pandemic, and that also the adaptation phase was in progress, if not close to the end. But we were not still able to understand exactly the timing. So we had also to use the first survey, and during that survey, we realized that it was really a very quick process, because in about 18 days, the people switched from adaptation to adoption, and basically the adoption phase ended after 23 days. So possibly this has been an outcome of the forced process, of the forced innovation process, because of course everyone needed to use immediately technologies to get some results, and also because they used very well tested technologies that were not designed for the educational processes, but like the one that we are using now, Zoom, Google Suite, etc., were used for collaborative work, and were adopted during to carry on also the educational process. So this is the first takeaway. The second takeaway is represented here. Of course, we try to investigate also the causal relation between all the different factors. I cannot get into the detail, but I try to represent here the clusters of factors that we have detected in the causal network, and also we have represented, as you can see, the proximity between the cluster of factors and the model that has been developed before. And the very interesting things that come out, that in this phase, in this particular phase of the process, I mean 1 year after the pandemic outbreak, the key point was really the collaboration among colleagues. So cohesion and collaboration among colleagues. I can also anticipate that now, after 2 years, not so longer so relevant, but that time, 1 year after the outbreaks, was very relevant. And that most of the factors are, I mean, the class of factor result to be more or less separated. For example, contextual factors are not very relevant for this innovation process. Like also individual factors, they have some relation, but the main factor are those that has to do with the educational activities process. These are the main factors that then may influence the outcomes, I mean the future intention of the people. So certainly all the technological factor, all the organizational factor determine the perception about school immaturity, the ability of the school to react. But the learning process, the factor related to the learning process that really matter together with collaboration for what concerns the future intention. For example, about the perception about sustainability of the integrated didactic, or the intention to use integrated didactic in the future. For example, maybe most of you know the TAM model, but as you can see here, the TAM model can influence, I mean, can give his contribution to the causal chain but as a side relevance with respect to educational activities and the outcomes of educational activities. So basically, the last slide show you how from the causal network you can try to derive the model of this innovation process. So you see that the relevance of collaboration at that time, you see that technological setting or organizational factor has to do, as I said you before, with the maturity of the environment. And you see that collaboration, of course, is relevant for all education activity and process, and that these are the main elements that can influence the perception of sustainability of the integrated learning processes. So, and this also determine the future intention, expectation, and the individual level. Specific training has been considered relevant, but not strictly connected. So you see that all contextual factors are not so relevant, only for the family involvement. I mean, the contextual factor has been recognized as relevant to push the family to get involved in the process in online or integrated learning processes. So basically, these are the main outcomes. And as I say before, the interested reader can go through the paper and see all the detail about the factors that have been investigated, the statistical analysis, etc., etc. Thanks.
Thank you, Carlo. And as we have gone a bit over time, I don't give opportunity to ask anything from you, but still I have one question. Please ask with one sentence or one word even. What do you consider the next technology we are forced to adopt in 10 days or 15 days? Can you predict something?
This is a difficult question to answer, but I think that the lesson that we learn is very clear. Technology should be very simple to use it. It should be tested, should provide advantages to the process that within which they are inserted. And the question that we should try to ask and answer is a little bit different, in the sense that rather than ask which could be the next technology, there are several that actually can be considered, is who is going to take this stage, who is going to develop such technology in a way that can be used by a million of people. That's the problem. Google has done this for Google Classroom, Microsoft has done this for Teams. They were not at all designed and developed for educational process, but nevertheless has been adapted. So Europe, or let's say our national states, will be so longenerant, so looking forward to finance European technologies that are not just for a one-shot lab test, but for people.